Hey, welcome back to the Metropole Grid. My name is Andrej.
And I'm Eric.
And thanks so much for tuning in. Round 7, the final round of Swiss NANPC Montreal. It's getting late. It's about 5:30, I think. So we all want our dinner. We've been playing a long, so far Saturday, have some great Netrunner. We have a final match between two great friends and two of my favorite players in the Montreal meta. On the left, we've seen him once before. That's Steven, or weltgeist. We saw him earlier playing against Izzy on round 2, playing that sort of Aqua Sierra Screw Hoshiko, a really great deck. And now he's moved gears to Reality Plus, and I think this is a bit of a homebrew, an interesting deck. There's going to be some tricks, some traps, and I'll spoil that there's going to be some lethality on here. On the right, RPG Clinic Playmat. You can check him out on Twitch while he does his live streams. They're playing the Werewolf RPG. I forget the actual name of the RPG, but it's pretty cool. This is Jon, just coming off being crowned the Canadian National Champion at East Coast Nats. Also up here on the channel. He's wearing a red Métropole Grid t-shirt. What a cool dude. Jon's playing some Kit. Kit, rebelling with that rehearsal has been great to Kit. How have you been enjoying your Kit here, Eric?
I really like playing Kit and getting to slam down Spark of Inspiration and start pressuring things like super early and putting people in a panic. It's a lot of fun. Yes. Although it is very frustrating when you can't find that card, or when you draw usually one of each 8 or 10 cost programs into your hand. I'm assuming this is probably a Spark.
Yeah, it's a Spark.
Yeah.
Lobby, Orca, you know how it goes. The big breakers, you don't want to draw them, so drawing is a bit interesting. And then once you get them on the table, though, that breaks all the ice in the format relatively well. But this is Reality Plus, and Reality Plus actually introduces other problems that Kit doesn't deal with that well. If you ask me, Kit's really good at dealing with ice. That's really good when you're playing against a precision design that has ice. But when you're dealing with things like potentially Behold and Oppo Research, and maybe even the self-growth program bounces your
self-growth is
programs.
the worst. Yeah.
Like, this matchup is not one that I would feel incredibly comfortable with Kit unless we can very quickly establish a strong event-based economy. And that's what we're expecting from Kit. Draw order depending. Now, Steven, he went for the mulligan. It looks like Jon is happy, so we're probably not going to see any of those clunker hands where you mulligan into a Lobby and Orca and you start clicking for credits and hoping to draw rigging up.
Is that a hologram or a foil Kit?
Yeah,
looks so pretty fancy.
It looks fancy. Jon's saying directly to the camera.
Yeah,
so
just
these
said,
are
yes,
actually
that is a foil Kit. Yes.
So he actually made these himself. There was like many moons ago, there was articles up on BGG like how to print your own foil cards, and it involved like taking a magic card, scraping the art off of it, and then putting your own on top of it. It was like a highly involved process that was kind of cool 10 years ago. And so Jon has all these foiled out IDs that he's done as art projects himself. He didn't print these. And this is like a kit that is probably as old as, I don't know, as long as we've been playing the game. It's been around for a while. This is alt ID.
All right.
R plus. Starting up Ice on HQ, card in remote server. I hate checking the remote server in Reality Plus. If that's a Behold, if that's that 3-1 agenda I can never remember the name of, there's some big problems, some big credit swings, and trashing early, understanding the Oppo Research will just come in for free for Reality Plus.
Oracle Think Tank, I think you're thinking of, right?
That's the one. Yeah. Oh, that one gets me so bad. A tag and an Oppo Research demanded because you did steal an agenda.
Is this,
but hey,
burner respect?
It could be, yeah. I think HQ Burner Respect, and speak about Burner, that's the only 2 cards we saw as a Lobby and the Burner. I think Burner is really important to keep those Oppo Researches and any other tag punishment that we're going to see what it is in the matchup. But right off the top, Lobby, 2 cards down. That's our Decoder and our Fractor here, let alone breaks everything considering Kit's ability attacks and Dirty Laundry. We're actually sending it straight to HQ after the mulligan, assuming there might be agendas in there, and saying that outermost ice. We need something really annoying. And speaking of really annoying, Funhouse is a code gate, and it's hard to get through that, especially now that you've invested a Dirty Laundry in that. Can you sunk cost fallacy your way through this?
I think I do all the time. Actually, I don't see Funhouse all that often these days. It's a bit of a surprise, but
it is a pain.
Is this
thing on HQ? How do you deal with this thing?
What have we done? Spark.
Gamble, Spark, Dirty Laundry. I believe we should have a click.
We have a click to spare. So you take it, you get through. Oh well, you know.
Yeah, because there is again 5 credits attached to this. We're going to take 1 tag. We're going to access a card here. If you get oppoed, if you steal like a Behold or something, and there it is, but 1 credit short.
Never. Oh, okay. I was going to say never punished, but never punished.
Yes, expensive res. Getting the 2 credits back, mind you, from the Funhouse, but we're going to be able to clear the tag here. We now know what kind of deck it is. And now trashing that Behold, there is some cost associated with that might actually be an oppo. But if there's a Behold in hand, what's on the table? Clear the tag there.
The internal struggle of deciding, should I trash the Behold and worry about the Oppo, or just get this thing out of here and hope they don't have it?
It's the worst. I hate it. When you hit the behold, a lot of times the right thing to do is not trash it. Because again, once you've trashed a card, as you said, you turned on Oppo Research, and that could be quite difficult. We see the hand here where your digital life, 4 cards in hand, drawn into a foil copy of tomorrow's headline and 3-2 agenda with the tag.
Where is everyone getting all this foil?
Toronto. Yeah, I think those foils are from Toronto Toronto Worlds in 2020.
I'm addicted to foil right now. I'm sorry.
Let me tell you about collectible card games.
No.
We're drawing up. Was that a second Lobby in Jon's hand? But on 5 credits here, our economy is mostly events. You're not, maybe some daily casts in there, but there's a pretty robust economy here. Now, I'm wondering how scared Jon is of interaction.
Oh, sorry. I thought for a second that Lobosomum disappeared, but it's over in the corner. I panicked.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, did self-growth hit somehow? And I missed a tag.
He's moved it over. It has 2 power counters on it, but that Funhouse is just going to be a hard thing to deal with. And as we say, Lobosummon's really good at dealing with ice, but Funhouse, every on encounter, every time you encounter it, you either have to end the run or take a tag. And we haven't seen Hush in a lot of decks, obviously not in the Spark of Inspiration deck. I'm not expecting an Air Blade, so there's just like no good way to deal with Funhouse. For 5 credits and functionally 3 credits once the runner goes through it once, that is going to be one of the best ice you can imagine for HQ. Yeah, unless the runner goes tag me.
Austerity policy. Wow, this is a wild deck. What's happening here?
So if there's 3 influence, this red sand card, you're going to spend a click and take that click also away from the runner. And if this thing charges up after a couple turns, you can fast advance even 5 3s from hand or 4-2 or tomorrow's headline and have clicks left over for tag punishment. And this shows you like, hey, I want you to deal with this. You're going to trash it. It's going to cost you 3 credits. And with fewer clicks, it might be even harder to remove tags or deal with whatever nonsense I'm throwing your way. Now, trick shot on R&D open. We're going to get some multi-access, and that austerity is definitely going down for free. The card in the moat server not being rezzed.
It's more foil.
Is that foil? Oh, yeah, the trick shot. Super foil. We're really foiled out here.
Yeah, I know. Everybody up in Montreal is just decked out all in foils. So this kind of
Regulus
seems
going.
like a substitute version of the Barf Thule deck with MCA Austerity and tags and Oppo Research. So I'm assuming that there's some intention to just murder with very few clicks on the turn.
That's exactly it. Click removal makes a lot of sense if you're delivering tags. If you Oppo Research someone, you give them 4 tags and they only have 3 clicks, that might be a problem for them. And we got full value off that trick shot, which is pretty incredible. We trashed Regolith off the top and an Austerity. We do see Weltgeist. Stephen has an Oppo Research in hand, so here Jon really needs to get his money up. I think we have maybe a Dirty Laundry in hand left there, but on 5 credits, clearing 2 tags is going to be pretty expensive. And I think the Austerity on the table with no ice is basically saying, I have an Oppo. That is kind of the subtext there. So we'll see financially if we can deal with it. Now, Onacom, he's already played an event here, so we're going lower in credits. Steven wants to deliver here the Oppo Research. It's going to be hard for Jon to clear the tags unless he has another Burst Economy play in hand to start next turn.
Yeah, that feels hard going down to 2. We'll see the Oppo at the end of the turn if we see it, right? Because it's a terminal. And there it is.
There you go. Now you can draw 2 cards or gain 2 credits because the first time you give it a tag, we're going to get the credits back. The free Oppo feels real bad when you're the runner, but with a card on the table now, whether you're expecting another Oppo, you're maybe assuming that's a daily business show you saw at the top of the deck. But now with 2 credits here, we definitely want like a Dirty Laundry or some good way to make money. There you go.
Nice.
Dirty Laundry.
So maybe, Jon had that kind of planned out. Like, it's okay to go down to 2. I'm going to be able to play this, get back, do some card draw, and then clear those tags.
So we were talking with Jon when we saw him play in the finals. He was playing a very similar deck. I'm not sure how much he's changed. He might have moved around some influence, but one of the things that we've noted in his gameplay is with Onacom and with cards like Bravado or Dirty Laundries, cards that give you money during the run. Wow, we were talking to Jon. We said like a lot of times you want to put these cards on the table, not straight into your bin, because if you put them in the bin, you miss the triggers on Onacom sometimes, and you sometimes miss the credit gain. And you notice he put it into his bin and he's like, wait, I should put this on the middle of the table. And it's so much easier to remember your triggers, especially with things like Onacom. I love that sort of focus play.
Yeah, I was playing Onacom yesterday, and I didn't do that with short gambles specifically, and I realized, oh, this is going to get me. I better start putting the short gambles on the table, even though I'm not running, just to do the thing.
Daily business show. 2 cards there. One of them is Rashida, which wasn't trashed there. Jon trying to keep his credits up, and you see a bit of Steven's hand. He is flooding up. I think there might be even a degree mill in there, but we also see a tomorrow's headline, and if I'm not mistaken, a 4-2 neutral agenda, Orbital Superiority from the core set. And this card is really cool because if you have MC Austerity, you have enough clicks, you can score out a 4-2 with having a click left, which means you can do Orbital into tag punishment.
Ouch. Oh, this is fun. It's fun for somebody.
Card on the table, Public Trail, another thing we see in Steven's hand, and his credits are not stabilizing just yet, but that outermost remote server, if I'm not mistaken, is the second Rashida Yahim, or sorry, the first Rashida Yahim that was just, I think, top deck the previous turn.
Right.
That Jon should expect to be on the table. As much as, what do you think that card is on the innermost? Like, I'm expecting it is that 3-1 agenda I still don't remember the name of.
Oh, you think it's an Oracle? An Oracle think tank.
It's an Oracle.
Okay.
It's an Oracle
I can
or
buy
a Behold.
Turn one, you just throw it down and say, enjoy this. It's going to put you back. Yep, there's Rashida.
Oppo is back online. We've also made a successful run with a Public Trail, but Jon is floundering economically here. That Onicom is pretty expensive. We're going to need a way to get money back. Just going for singles, though, not establishing the economy. And,
ouch. That's really painful right now.
So Steven starts rubbing his hands. It's going to be good. Have you seen this interaction with Behold and Reality Plus on R&D?
Where you just get to put it into your hand right now?
Yes.
Yes. You can use R Plus to just choose to draw cards. So while it's being accessed mid-access, you say, I draw 2, and you take it from the runner's hand and you put it into your hand and they can't trash it.
Yeah. A
Same
really
with
cool
snares,
interaction.
right? Yeah.
Same with Snare. And agendas don't work because obviously you've stole the agenda. The agenda gives you a tag. But yeah, with Behold and with Snare, that works. Now, Jon is trashing that. He already did trash that turn, if I'm not mistaken, Rashida, but his economy is totally bottomed out. He did last click clear at least one tag, but he's floating a single tag. Now he has at least 4 cards in hand. On only 2 credits here, there's not too much you're worried about big tag punishment. The worst case scenario, self-growth program returning the entire board state to hand is really, really bad.
Yeah,
but if it's something like low B, even the Onicom, if it's something like Market Forces, that's not going to do too much damage. If it's an end of the line, we're going to survive here. You'd need Mindscaping end of line for a full 5 damage flatline through an Onicom on 4 cards, but
there is a Public Trail in hand,
money.
though. So, but 2, only 2 credits.
Yes, yeah. We're going to need some money.
Yeah.
So R&D getting that ice. We have 2 more trick shots to wear down. Just clicking for credits, saying you're floating that tag and nothing is going to come from it. So take 2 credits really quickly, Jon, and going to clear the tag. Got 1 click left here. Again, last turn he went for those axes on central servers. It's so hard to touch this deck and not run into situations that you don't want to be in with Beholds and agendas that give you tags and Oppo research. That stabilizing the economy must be Jon's priority now. Have you seen in Steven's hand? He has an end of line in there.
I didn't notice it yet. No. All the foils are distracting me.
Line.
Okay. Yeah, it just needs money, right?
Just needs money. 4 cards in hand. If Jon sees that coming, he made a successful run. End of the line Public Trail will cost technically 7 credits, but with the refund,
I see an AR enhanced security in the far left, I think.
I think it might be a degree mill.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
It might be. It's hard to tell. Now, Spin Doctor, that's a Catch N altar. Mind you, they were playing at this event. That is another copy of that in hand. Oh, did you see how he touched that card and considered maybe advancing it or something? He was clearly caring about that card on the table.
Yeah, there's all these little body languages things. I love that about Netrunner, that you really kind of have to play it cool a lot of the time.
Now, sometimes you want to do that on purpose, like maybe look like an agenda that threw out a couple points in archives, and specifically there's a tomorrow's headline in archives. So if Jon ever checks archives, he's going to end up with not only a tag from the agenda, but also an agenda which turns on Oppo research. Diesel for 4 with Onicom. Again, the money here is just not working. We need to get back in here. A creative commission is an easy recovery here. With a lot of cards in hand, we did finally find the creative.
Yep. Yeah, good bounce back tool.
Yeah.
But still, it feels like another turn or 2 of just rebuilding on the right there. Jon's side.
And the question is, if you don't interact and you don't go for the single accesses, how quickly can Steven build a board state that you have to be worried about? Which is why I think Jon, the economy's not exactly there. Throwing out an extra Lobby, an extra Onicom, 1 other card in there I couldn't see. It might have been a test run. But just saying okay, you can set up, I can click for credits. It's going to come down to what sort of board state can Steven set up. And maybe it's going to be something behind a funhouse and he'll force you into that turn after turn. For now, the game is not progressing too quickly.
Yeah, with the decks that are trying to kill you, and these traps, you Beholds and Oracle think tanks, you're not terribly worried about stuff on the table until you start seeing some agenda scored. So I think there's some breathing room, but yeah, you do need to worry about for stuff like, I don't know if this is doing the B1001 funhouse thing. I kind of doubt it.
You get scared of install advance, right? Because crypto crash is a problem potentially. But even if it is I don't know, fly on the wall, a 3-1 that gives you a tag into tag punishment. Or if the install advance turns out it's a checklist, you can actually very quickly end up playing the sort of where are the agendas, where are the traps.
Yeah, but with just a little bit more money on Jon's side, he's got Lobosomum down. Like, you have to build a pretty serious remote to say, now this is a problem. And it doesn't take too long. You see just, Sure Gamble, Spark here for, I'm assuming, an Orca.
Should be the only hit there, throwing out the other. Did you see the first card or second card was, if I'm not mistaken, a burner? And it's signed? I believe that burner was signed by Sam, by Architect, who was the other finalist in Canadian Nationals. And that burner basically won Jon the game. So he asked Sam if he could sign it, and Sam was a good sport about it. So he has his nice, very, very Canadian Nationals winning burner, which is sick.
Cool. That's awesome.
Orc on the table costs 10, but not so expensive when you get that with the Spark of Inspiration. This will break the sentries. And sentries you're expecting, it's mostly, if you ask me, Sarievnas can show up. You break that for 2, or I'm expecting Starlit Knight, which we haven't seen that much of in the modern meta, but is a very, very good scaling sentry if the runner ever ends up with slightly too many tags.
Yeah. Maybe a cheeky like gatekeeper or something if they're spending influence, but I don't know. Yeah.
On the table, Dr. Nuka going to get some card draw. We're seeing there the ice again on the remote server daily business show, still firing away. It looks like we want to put something in the remote server, and whether it's MC austerities or just start pushing in agendas. As you said, right, with these 2 breakers, it's hard to put something in a remote server behind a single ice unless it's a fun house. So I don't know if we have a good read on what goes in the remote server, whether it's a trap, a 3-1 that you want to force the runner into interacting with Oppo, or just the Rashida now that we've drawn up, if that goes straight into the remote.
It looks like 2 agendas in hand. That daily business show is doing so much work right now. And like getting enough money to just say, fine, you're going to big op me. It's going to cost you some money. Cost you 5, right? You still have to pay the 5.
We have to be on threat 3 first, though, right?
That's true. Yeah, you're safe. I think now is a great time to do a little bit more money, get rid of that daily business show, because they, secretly, or not so secretly, they're quietly holding up this whole deck, I think.
Over install on the innermost remote server that's there on turn 1, to me, screams that is that 3-1 that I still don't know the name of for some reason.
Oracle Think Tank.
Thank you. I'll just pause and you'll fill in.
That's okay.
It's an
you
Oracle
covered
Think
the other
Tank.
19,000 cards, and I got that one.
So that looks like a Spin Doctor installed on top of an Oracle Think Tank, or anything installed on top of an Oracle Think Tank, because clearly Jon's not running it. And now running Archives is tricky because there's an Oracle Think Tank in Archives.
There's a mind game attached to Archives right now, because that might just be bait to say, go ahead and run Archives so that you think I'm going to pop this Spin Doctor, but I'm not. And now you're double tagged. That's
now we're checking this one. This is probably a Spin Doctor, so that Dirty Laundry might actually cease to exist if the server disappears, assuming that this card's a Spin Doctor. That Spin Doctor pop kind of tells you that this is a Spin Doctor. If the server disappears because there's nothing in the server or in front of the server, the run is neither successful nor
Dirty
unsuccessful.
Laundry.
Yeah,
it's a hard lesson to learn. And I mean, in this case, Jon felt some pressure. Jon felt some pressure to both get some money and check this thing. Then you just say, well, this could be wasted money, but.
Yeah, I think the read might be there that it's a Spin Doctor, considering that the interaction. And we saw 2 face downs going back, so one of these face downs should be the Oracle. Very importantly, face downs, when it comes to Netrunner, you're allowed to shuffle your face downs together. So I think if Jon's paying attention, he actually could tell which face down cards went back to the deck. These ones, though, are face up, an Austerity and a Behold. So there's still 2 face downs, 2 left over. Steven's disorganized Archives is getting to me slowly. We'll see if he straightens that up a bit.
Okay. It's gonna keep you up tonight.
No, I'll be fine. Rashida on the road server, draw 3, gain 3, and we're gonna get that daily business show trigger. I did think actually Steven forgot there. Very importantly, daily business show says once per turn, or the first time per turn, so it actually will fire on the Spin Doctor, which is a really nice reason that if you have a daily business show or Spin Doctor, res it at the end of the runner's turn to get that value filter draw.
Yep.
Cards in hand. We have a lot of agendas. 2 degree mills, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe just 1, but 2 copies of Orbital Superiority. It looks like a false lead as well, and a Holloman. Holloman, very important to make it for a runner who's maybe a bit hesitant to interact, to be like, okay, well, I'm going to start scoring out. And Holloman into Orbital means you actually have that click left for tag punishment. That's a really cool interaction with this deck.
Yeah, but you have to get some of this pre-installed, right? You can't do this out of hand with Holloman.
No.
Right? Yeah.
You can't do any of it out of hand. Yeah, it all has to be pre-installed. And false lead on the table. That's a really nice agenda. If that's going to be the first point at anyone's score area next turn, that's very likely.
I don't see any ice in that entire hand.
Nah, yeah, I don't think so.
That's rough. This is hard. But it's also hard to check, right? Ice. It's hard to check because you're worried about all these traps and staying above, keeping your head above water with all the tags. So There's just a fear factor built into R+.
Yes.
Yeah.
But luckily, like Jon hasn't. I think that second behold that he hit that actually fired was him. He kind of pulled back and realized, like, I don't have to go that fast. I don't have to go for single axes. I can play more of a controlling game. And now he's stabilized. He's up on 12 credits. He has both his breakers. He has a bit more card draw from the Nuka. But now there's 3 things on the table. We've seen 2 Rashidas so far, if I'm not mistaken. And so we're going to start by overclocking. This is interesting. This overclock disincentivizes the ice res, but when it's a funhouse, a tag can come across no matter what. So we'll see what we're trashing in there, hoping to use those credits, because we might waste a bit of this overclock. You want to take the 2 credits off of the first tag a turn in Lobby Somo? You can break for 2. It's cheaper than paying 4, and you charge the Lobby itself.
Yeah, you're not going to use the overclock for installing any program, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. 3 credits left over. We're checking here. Looks like there you go. False lead. First points on the table. A 1-pointer from Ash's Cycle. Not actually system update. I always forget that. This is a reprint of an old FFG card, and now that it's in Jon's score area, it doesn't do anything. But if that's in the corporation score area, you get some really potentially dangerous interactions.
This Bones is very nice here, but it definitely tells a runner what kind of deck this is, right? If it wasn't already obvious.
Yeah, exactly.
It's false lead. I need to be worried about my clicks. I need to check things and make sure this doesn't get scored.
So now we're risking Oppo Research. It's still going to be a small Oppo Research, but we did do a lot and trash a lot of stuff on the table. One of the best things you can do against Oppo Research is trash multiple things. Now, that daily business show is still ticking away. It's a nice target. Still there, and giving the corporation the ability to carve the best possible hand from most top decks. Like, you want to deal with that as soon as you can. I have no doubt that'll come down next turn, and we'll save the Oppo Connects here or Republic Trail. I believe we are floating a tag here with the Miss Bones also on the table. Whether that gets trashed or I don't know. I'd be really afraid of a self-growth program here if I had a Lobby and Orca on the table, 2 of the most expensive breakers in the entire format.
Yeah, you gotta worry about that. Like, this is the kind of thing where right now, if I'm the runner, I'm going, I forgot. I forgot to clear that. Be cool. Don't look at it.
Yeah,
don't check your watch. Don't do anything.
Be comfortable. I don't think he forgot it, but I know you want to make them forget. That is just an Oppo Research there coming in. It's going to be 2 tags. We're up on 3 tags. You're going to have to just clear that by hand. Again, there's not a lot of cards in the standard format that people play that allow you to clear tags for any better value.
Yeah, the lack of misdirection is being felt by Shaper.
Yep.
It's just about the only weakness in the faction, so that's fine.
Now, what I really like here is that it's not just like that sort of attritional Oppo. It's card in the remote server behind a funhouse Oppo, which means we've hit a fork in the road. Either we can start to clear all the tags and probably not run this turn, or we can just say, I'm going to tag me, and you can just run through the funhouse. On 1 tag, you're not weak to things like shipping from Vladisibirsk. On 2, you are. So there actually was a difference in potentially the tag punishment that Steven could have had in his hand that he couldn't capitalize on. But Jon needs to decide whether all these ice are going to be relatively blank ice besides Reality Plus, or whether we're going to clear the tags. And it looks like we're going to take that huge tempo hit. 3 clicks, 6 credits, down to only 3, and just click to draw.
Yeah, I think it's just a necessary evil of playing against decks where you're not, like, the kit deck is not outfitted to clear tags at any rate. There's no tech cards in there. There's no, splash for a networking or something, but,
Ooh. 3 advancements. We trade false leads. Now, this is a really important agenda. It says you can forfeit this, and it says if the runner has 2 or more remaining clicks, they lose both of them. Now, if they have is an important thing. This used to be worded if able, so you can only use that functionally on the first click or the second click. You can't use it on the third click because they don't have 2 clicks left over, which means Jon has to be very careful. If he hits a Behold, if he hits that, what's the name of the 3-1 agenda?
Oracle Think Tank.
If he hits an Oracle Think
Tank,
you're
doing a bit now, right? You're doing a bit.
Only slightly. If he ever hits it, though, it's like at the wrong window. Steven has to be on that trigger to be like, I'm going to pull this away. You're going to end your turn on a tag. And Jon has ended a couple turns of the tags, and it hasn't ended the game, seemingly. But it is definitely something you need to be careful about going forward. It adds a very big cloud over this whole game.
Yeah, Jon's just testing the waters. How bad is this?
Ooh,
MCA
dexterity.
behind ice is an interesting play.
If you run first click, you can just lose your whole turn to the false lead if you want to. Now we have some money coming in here. We haven't seen a pinhole threading just yet, but you're expecting those to be in this event-based kit deck. Funhouses are hard to deal with, and currently looks like the deck might just be on 3 funhouses, and we're seeing all 3 of them on the table.
R+ really allowing Steven to enact evil corporation right here. This is true.
There's the pinhole threading.
Okay,
that's Jon. bringing that austerity with the missed bones, getting the Onicum draw, just a lot of value. That was a Mystic Miami also as a free pinhole threading. You want to be careful when you run archives. You don't have to say which card you're accessing. It's obvious there, but yeah, we're going to run archives. We're going to bring down that austerity, not have to deal with that funhouse. 6 credits left here. Once you trash one card here, I think as John, you want to consider bringing that to a daily business show. You've already risked Oppo this turn. You've already risked Public Trail.
Is daily business 4 to trash? I mean, there's a missed bones on the table, but
yeah. It's 4. So we have 6 off the missed bones.
Yeah. No, that card's doing a lot of work, as it usually does when it comes down.
We're sliding over here. Going to take 2 credits and discard after getting some more card draw off Mystic, throwing out that last copy of the Onicum. And it's back here to the corporation. They're still getting the filter draw. He has 6 credits. You need to keep your cards in hand up. And I don't know if John right now, who's worrying about his last discards here to hand size, whether he's frightened about the possibility of something like Public Trail into Mindscaping and to end the line. Which that is a 3-card combo that if you don't have 8 credits to dodge the Public Trail tag, you're going to end up taking 5 meat damage or a mix of meat and net damage. That's not always lethal, especially with Onicum. It's actually really hard, or a Stone Ship even on the table to be lethal. So I think Steven needs to work a bit more aggressively and force a bit more of those tags. Throwing out an Ashen is super notable. This is a difference, I believe, from the list that John played at Cannats. That is the big reset button on 5 credits. And there's actually a chance that in this matchup, if it goes slow enough, you might hit that button, especially when it costs a fair bit less money with Mystic Miami to get those events back into your deck. Because once you deck out, you got nothing besides clicking for credits.
What's a Mindscaping cost?
2.
2. So that full combo costs 9?
Yeah, but you get 2 credits back on the Public Trail.
That's okay. Right.
Yeah. If so you want, right?
7, but you got to have 9. No, it's just 7.
But the runner needs to have like 3 cards in hand for that to be lethal. And with Stone Ship needs to have like 1 card in hand. It's really hard.
Oh, and we have seen the Stone Ship pop. Yeah, or install.
Yeah, it's on the table.
That's pretty helpful.
So Steven here's thinking again. The hand. You know the divide by 5 rule?
Yes, it's been hammered into my brain at this point now.
Yeah. So it's trickier. It's tricky when there's a daily business show on the table, but again, this is probably like turn 12 and there's 1 point in everyone's score area. 1 Spin Doctor, 2 Spin Doctor have gone, only one of them is shuffled face downs, but you'd have to assume here that the deck is full of agendas. There's a pinhole threading, finding a behold.
Ooh, a table behold.
The table behold behind a funhouse too. Could have been even worse than this, but 2 tags are paying 4, getting the 2 cards back. Here you should not trash it. John does trash it. I think it's often incorrect to trash this because now you're turning on Oppo research. You generally don't want to be trashing cards if you can avoid it.
Yeah, you're super buried at this point because it's just going to sit in that remote until it definitely needs to get overwritten.
Yeah, there's no way that it'll punish you unless Steven puts in theory, you can actually capitalize on it. You can put like a Hollow Man on top of it, which is kind of cute. So I wouldn't say 100% off it. And there you go.
Yeah.
John realizing I don't want to trash that if you want to put that back. So that's great. Now, what John did do there that you want to be careful is that when he pinholed archives, he said what card he wanted to access. In theory, you're just meant to say pinhole and say action. Because in theory, if Steven had like a Spin Doctor in the remote server and he was scared that you're going to touch that, which would be a pretty weird read considering you're probably pinholing because of the funhouse. You just never want to say what you're pinholing until you have to at the last minute. It's a pretty big deal sometimes.
Yeah, and it's an easy thing to forget when you're kind of hyper focused on I want to trash that card, you know.
Send it. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, there was a false lead threat there. If there was not a moment there, I believe that was pinhole click 1. In theory, we could have false leaded to end the runner with one single tag and a full hand, which is probably not what you want. But there was a window there to float a single tag. I was just saying, yeah.
I don't have the power of observation to play a false lead deck because watching the opponent to just go, stop. Yes. Your turn's over. It's really hard to do.
You constantly have to have it in your hand. You generally just say, like, I might have an action here. Then you take a second, look at board state, and you say you can go. But it is very tricky. It takes a bit of discipline on both sides. So not just like send click 2 and click 3 immediately.
Well, you also don't want to like draw too much attention to what you're doing because you are looking to catch them off guard a bit.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So it's tricky. It's really hard. I mean, I've tried to do that on stream with Nick a couple times where he's done it to me. And, it's like, I'm just trying to play it cool again.
Yeah, I'm pulling attack. Be cool. There's that Spin Doctor. That was actually something that could have been threatened by the pinhole, but I really doubt it. Big YDL here after the Spin Doctor draw mandatory. It looks like maybe 6 or 7 cards in hand. We're up on 9 credits, which is quite nice. So now we probably have the credit total to do any event-based damage pattern. But you see that hand, though? It has like 9 points in it.
Lots of agendas and an end line. And a
hollow.
What's the second one?
Second one on which side?
That one. Oh, it's a false lead. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my
there you
goodness.
Go. There's a Holloman on top of the
agendas.
Behold. And now we're overinstalling the Behold.
Okay.
Interestingly, there too, you can overinstall the Behold on the first one because that order of install actually tells Jon which one of these is an upgrade.
Yeah. Yep. You probably just want to clear the whole thing and be a little bit more obtuse.
So if you're playing a pinhole here and you want to get down to Holloman, which is the upgrade I imagine you're expecting, you did give a bit of information there.
Obtuse?
Draw 4 with Diesel.
Obscure?
Obtuse is good, yeah.
Obscure.
No, obtuse is fine.
It seemed. It was like, is that an insult? I don't know.
Daily cast coming down. Looks like Jon's not going to be interacting here if he wants to commit to that early on in the turn and just click for credits. So we'll see with the Holloman. Okay, we're reminding that, again, you don't want to often commit to that unless it's going to be a whole turn. I'm going to say, do you want to do something? That's good respect. I'm going to click for credit. Anything you want to do, false lead. Because in theory here with the false lead, you could trade it if you're worried about the remote server and score out like a 3-pointer in the remote server. I was trying to say this earlier. With only 1 point in each score area, you're assuming that the hand must be flooded or the bottom of the deck is flooded.
It's just
and at
all
some
agendas.
point, yes, it's all agendas if DBS just breaks those agendas up. Which means at some point, if you're tracking when the bottom of the deck hits the top, or as soon as there's a spin doctor shuffle that will mess up that math, either R&D is super dense or HQ is super dense. And in this case, it's actually probably, considering there's not a lot of cards in the deck, a bit of both.
Is this deck just on 3 Funhouse? It's what it feels like.
That's my guess. Yeah,
I have not seen any other
so.
ice, and that third ice to me is screaming Funhouse.
Do you know what's a really good ice in Reality Plus?
Yeah.
Funhouse.
Yeah.
It's just hard to deal with.
But you don't see it, which is weird. I don't know.
No, you don't. I think there's some like scared people being a bit frightened about the threat of Physarum, because that's like obviously not good for you, but it's good. Here's the Holloman res for 2. We don't have to move it. Seems to be at work doing what it wants to do here. So now we can pay 4 with our money that we got off that disappears really quickly. But there's the Orbital Superiority. System Gateway Classic. That's going to give a tag. That's 2 credits back. It actually makes it like a very, very small, if you squint. It's like an off-world office, but the numbers are smaller. But we'll see if we have a click left here to get some tag punishment in.
It's an orbital office. That's all.
Yeah, 2 credits. It looks like we might just push the next remote. The hand is just all agendas and then 1 end of the line.
Yeah, but you can't do that anymore. Now you're only on 4 credits, so that's harder.
It's harder.
Steven needs to make some money.
Yes. Which means Jon needs to take some tags, right?
Yeah, taking tags is one way to make money. It seems like an unreliable way. But
it's not really like you need the regolith to stick. Obviously, like doing so much work in these sort of decks, but we're going to clear the tag there. Jon did have the tag, click for credit, pause for effect. Again, false lead can storm in, but I think you're totally right. The rate limiting thing here is definitely the corporation's credits. Just clicking for credits. Jon, just saying you can do it. My breakers don't really matter. Funhouse is a pain. Just what can you do on 4 credits here?
R&D.
And Jon might be waiting.
R&D's starting to get looking thin.
It already was like the 44, the Slim Corp. So already a bit smaller. And one of the cool things that could be happening here is Jon can actually wait for what I would call the turning point of this game, where at some point you're assuming R&D and HQ is so flooded up that you can just say, F it. Funhouse now is mostly blank, barring Reality Plus. I'm going to send it HQ. I'm going to burn her. I'm going to trick shot. And in 1 turn, I'm going to do so much access damage that I can just scoop the game up from there. Now, that's hard to deal sometimes with false lead. And we'll see what the tag punishment to close the game is. But you see that hand there now. It's just a Maryland campaign. Like 7 points, maybe? And end the line.
I think so. If Steven doesn't click for a credit here, which doesn't look like it's happening, then Jon can just check the top of R&D for free here because there's only 4 credits. So if that's a Funhouse, which I'm assuming it is, there we go. Okay, we got some money.
You're right. He can check. How scared are you though? Of things like Behold? How scared are you? Or things like that 3-1 agenda? Like what is
that's true. Yeah. I have to bring myself snap back to reality. It's R plus. It's reality plus.
No, but you're right. It's like, I think you can still take those risks. Like you can barely afford a big Oppo. Big Oppo, mind you, is online. That's a really big part here of getting the orbital superiority scored on the table 3-1. But Jon here now probably has a lot of pressure cards that haven't hit the table yet. Whether it's, again, the burners, we're expecting at least 2. The trick shots, we're expecting at least, I think, 2 more. Did he just discard one? Last turn? Why is there one face up?
There's a trick shot there. I missed it. I was focused on the corpse side there.
But Mystic, I think, is fully loaded here. So we definitely want to play an event. So we're going to pay 1. Hey, there's the trick shot. Scott Aminga alt art from CanNats. Shout out to the nice folks from the Torsaw Grid. And this is where it starts. So we'll see what that on the remote server is. Again, think the easy call here is Funhouse number 3.
Yeah, but do you go to 1 credit for it? Well, then you bounce back.
I assume if you get the corporation down to 1 credit, you can just walk
bounce
off of it. Yeah.
Yeah. No res makes more sense if it's a Funhouse to me.
Now considering it. Again, we have some good breakers here. If it is like something else, like a virtual service agent, not a great res, but immediately spin doctrine back.
That's telling.
That's cool. So this either means that you want to shuffle in the near future, and so you want to make sure that there's no chance to see more cards in R&D. But also in the archives there, I think you saw there was at least a Tomorrow's Headline, and again, those cards are technically traps that you want to put back in the deck.
Right, Tomorrow's and a Think Tank could go back in. Although, I don't know. So this is a timed round, right? We must be approaching some amount. We're like near 40 minutes, probably.
We're like 35 in. You're right. Time is coming up. And that is going to impact how aggressive Jon's going to feel that he needs to be. He needs to start touching cards. If we have a timed win, or sorry, a time is called, the active player finishes their turn, their opponent finishes their turn, and then whoever has the most points gets a full win. Now that can be awkward, actually. That also causes Steven to maybe potentially want to speed up. Because if Jon has a final turn of the game, most of this ice doesn't do anything anymore.
Okay, Regolith getting trashed.
Going to use those credits off the trick shot. Again, Miss Bones' only installed cards into a snare.
Oh my goodness gracious.
4 credits, gonna gladly pay that. So the big question here is, are we gonna draw this? I think we're gonna need the credits back. We'll see what we get. It looks like the credit back. So 3 damage. This is really, really important for this sort of deck that definitely wants a kill combination. Hitting a DJ Fenris, a Mad Dash, and the first burner we've seen so far.
That's so painful. And I legitimately didn't see that coming. It doesn't matter how many times you run into a snare. It's just always a surprise. And it's a foil.
It's a nice foil also from the Torso Grid. I'm going to draw there, which is quite nice. And we still have a run here checking the remote server. Snare there would have been lethal if I'm not mistaken, but not expecting that on the table. That would have been sick. Maryland campaign instead going down for the extra trick shot credits. Not getting shuffled in. Mind you, that text is only active if it's rezzed. So 1 tag in here, 5 credits, 1 card in hand, but a stone chip. Now this is where like the false lead, you have to be very careful to not draw. Here, you definitely want to clear the tag first, asks for action, and then go on with your turn.
Yeah, it seems like Jon's doing a good job of respecting, asking.
Yes.
Do you want to pop it?
Yeah, he's
Do you want to pop it? Do you want to pop it? It's on my mind.
He's being very careful here right now. He does, even if the turn is ended, you can stone chip and be on 4 cards in hand, which I'm pretty sure is safe, especially on 4 credits. Steven doesn't have a lot to work with. I do think he jettisoned the public trail, so his hand is only agendas at end of the line. So his actually kill combination, like against Onicom and Stone Chip, it's going to be really hard. Daily cast. We're bottoming out, going to draw some cards here with the Stone Chip, but we get an Oppo here for 4 tags. It's going to start to get dicey on both sides for credit reasons.
Yeah, I think that Steven at some point had to make the hard call to get rid of the... I saw the public trail get trashed just because too many agendas were in hand. Yeah, like...
18 points is in this deck. 44 cards is what we're expecting. Again, smaller deck size, I mean, less agendas in the brew. And we've only seen 4 points out of 18, and that R&D is not looking good if you're trying to go into fatigue. Over install there. It's over installed. It must be a 3-1. That agenda that has a name.
I'm not gonna humor you anymore.
But that probably is that. Like it's either a behold or that agenda that at this point, like Steven understands, I don't need to score this out. It's pretty expensive. But 2 more cards on the table here. Time is definitely sneaking up. We're starting with a burner.
Okay.
We're going in. I think we're just going tag me.
This is good. Now this actually, like a TPR, just to stop someone from stealing with burner would be pretty cool. But 2 clicks. So if this is click 1 and we have an MC8 or anything, so yeah, you can still just go get the top.
Now, B1001 could be on the table. That is very interesting when your ice is all fun houses. That is going to be a rude surprise if that burner comes through. 2 cards were just put on the table here. I think Steven's understanding or deciding what to do here. I believe we're just letting the funhouse fire. I think Jon should be on 2 tags. We will correct that if I'm not mistaken, but there's only 3 cards in hand. We're going to see every single card here. And not only do you see the end of the line, you see 4 points. Now, this is fascinating because you can decide where to put these. Reality Plus is now fired, so there's going to be no more card draw mid-run. So you can make sure that you can make HQ just the agenda. You can put the end of line on the bottom of the deck, which seems like the safe play.
Yeah.
And now these agendas are going to be 1 in HQ, 1 on R&D, which is entirely possible to get both of those.
I feel like that goes on top of R&D. Because them, if Steven has to draw that again, that's pretty wicked. And then you can't just run through 2 credits.
You can just run R&D.
Yeah,
but you're going to tag me. Then none of this stuff
okay,
matters,
if you're going to tag me, then yeah, just go get it. Take the tag. Make the corp go down to 2 credits and steal. What are you bouncing? 2 daily casts?
Yep, probably.
Yeah.
We're going back. There's a degree mill. I think maybe the Mystic you could go back. Honestly, the Orca. I would put the Orca back.
Oh, that's true. I don't think at this point.
There's no sentries here. You'll be maybe upset if you run into like that Starlit Knight, which is scaling up. I think we should now be 4 tags in, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. Do the Orca. Come on. That's a good call.
Orca's sick. Yeah,
nice.
Back into the water. There's like 4 cards left also on Jon's side. It's Miss Bones, Orca, Daily Cast. Oh, he's reconsidering. Oh, Mystic is good money. Onacom going back too. You saw where the kill combo is, or at least the end of line on the bottom of the deck. Only a couple cards in hand. This is an important junction here because you can, in theory, false lead. He's going tag me on 7 credits. End of line bottom deck on top of the deck. We know there's a false lead there. That's where he put it.
Oh, that's right.
We're on game point here. Last click creative commission. Now there's cards on the table. If one of these cards is a gaslight, you lose the game because you're going to get 4 meat damage sent directly to your home. So you didn't check either of these cards. Looks like we're shifting the Hollow over to the unprotected remote server.
Orbital?
If it's an orbital, it's lethal.
Yeah, that seems like it's an orbital. Although, wait, what's the hesitation, Steven?
Just math.
Okay.
And just figure out about the funhouse.
Oh, slamming it down on the table. Winning via orbital superiority with a bow of respect. Love it.
That's incredible. We are definitely tagged there, so that's going to be the damage. So while that end of the line has put itself onto the bottom of the deck, there is still lethality on the table. Both these players had such a fun time in that matchup. I think time might have been just about called, so Jon was getting a bit more aggressive there, and it almost capitalizes. If he just runs that remote server, I'm not actually sure what's in the funhouse server, but if you run the table, he would win.
It's the game.
Yeah, it's the game right there. Now, if you respect Gaslight, maybe you'll check that table there, because I'm so scared there's Gaslights in the deck that probably only has 1 copy at the end of the line, and I'm not actually sure what's behind that funhouse. That might have been another 3-2 agenda.
You see Jon tapping the creative commission going, if I hadn't played this card.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Really exciting when it comes down to that last click with the agenda on the table uniced, and Steven has to be cool there and just score out for the lethal.
So I know very cool. A lot of people, have some feelings about the power level of Hollow Man, but it does allow some pretty cool creative plays like that one. That was pretty neat. Out of nowhere, just this thing floats over and puts you to bed.
It's a fun card. It costs 2 to trash. That can be hard behind the funhouse, but I'm a big fan of the card. It allows a lot of very creative play lines.
Yeah, me too.
Shout out to both these players. Just great folks. In the remote server, it was a behold, mind you. I guess we're seeing that there at the end. So you have to run that far server to be able to diffuse that. But well played to both players. That's the end of NANPC Swiss rounds. But the next day, mind you, 8 players came back to vie for that title. We had a wooden deck box. We had some nice prize support. So we're going to be returning in just, I believe, a couple days, if not next week, for the top cut. Eric, thanks so much for joining me. Can you shout out your channel, Neon Static? I'm a big fan.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, we do stuff using video and sound technology to show you Netrunner content. So
it's good stuff. You all have that studio in your attic, and you play in-person Netrunner. So if you want to watch some cardboard hit the table, that's a great place to go.
Yeah, we have a good time. Thanks for having me, and enjoy editing more amazing content, Andrej.
Hey, we'll be back in a bit. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll be back with the top cut of NANPC Montreal. Thanks for watching. Hey, thanks so much for watching. A really fun game to finish up the NANPC Swiss rounds from 2 of some of my favorite local players having a great time. When I edit, I don't actually hear the table audio. I'm very, very excited to hear that come together on the final edit, because I've no doubt those 2 guys were having a great time trying to figure out what those traps were and trying to force some awkward forks with the tags and the damage and the orbital superiorities of this. Now, of course, this is just the end of the Swiss rounds. Mind you, 8 players from day 1 were invited back for day 2 to fight for the NANPC Montreal champion title. And we have all that footage coming up as soon as next week if things are going on schedule. It looks like we should still be again Saturday and Monday for more videos. Of course, this is only possible because all these names here and more. The Métropole Grid, we're supported on Patreon to put the time in to be able to edit, to produce, to live stream all the video content up here on the channel. Now, none of that would be possible without all of these names here, and of course, our daily cast patrons as well. If you want to support Netrunner content like this, you can find a link in the description. Any sort of amount is incredibly appreciated. If you want to just give the video a like, that also helps a heck of a lot on YouTube, and it's incredibly appreciated. And then finally, huge thank you again from Eric from Neon Static. I'm a big Neon Static fan, and just tonight, on the day this comes out, it'll be September 30th, 2024, I'll be joining the Neon Static for a live stream, where I'll virtually be piping my voice and my face in to help do some coaching for the upcoming World Championship. Now, obviously, it's going to be live. It'll be recorded. If you're finding this video later, the link should be in the description, but I'm excited. Monday night, we'll be dropping by on the Neon Static in-person paper play streams virtually. I'll be the digital part of it. It's going to be great. And with that, we'll be back soon with the top cut of NANPC Montreal. We have some more exciting games to come. Thanks again for watching.